I am 103 years old, and I eat the same 4 things every day. I've done it so long now that the days feel less like separate pieces and more like one long stretch I've been slowly walking across. In the morning, I have a boiled egg and a slice of toast. At midday, it's plain yogurt with a little honey. In the evening, I eat soft rice with lentils. Before bed, a small apple, peeled and cut into quiet pieces. That's all. The doctors ask me about it like I've hidden something from them. They look at their papers and then at me, and I can see it doesn't match what they were taught. I don't tell them much. I don't have a reason for it that would satisfy anyone. I just never changed. At this age, people expect a story with meaning at the end of it, something that explains why I'm still here when others are not. But most things that last this long aren't built on meaning. They're built on repetition and on not noticing time passing until it has already gone. I live alone now. The house is smaller than the one we raised our children in. I moved here after my husband died. I don't remember the exact year anymore. The numbers stopped mattering after a while. There is a window by my chair. I sit there most afternoons, even when there is nothing outside worth looking at. The street is quiet. Sometimes a child passes, sometimes no one. I eat my meals slowly, not because I'm careful, but because there is nowhere else I need to be. That wasn't always true. When I was in my 20s, I worked in a small office. It wasn't anything important. I filed papers, answered calls, made tea when visitors came. It felt busy at the time, important enough to fill my days. I remember thinking that life was something that would begin properly later. Everyone around me seemed to be waiting too. I met my husband in that office. He came in one afternoon with a folder tucked under his arm. He spoke quietly, like he didn't want to disturb the air more than necessary. We didn't speak much that first time, but he came back again the next week, and then again after that. It wasn't planned, or maybe it was, and neither of us said so. We married when I was 26. It felt like stepping into something that had already been decided. Not in a bad way, just expected. Like following a path that had been walked so many times before that you didn't question where it led. He worked long hours. That was normal. Everyone did. I kept the house. I cooked. I learned what he liked and made sure it was ready when he came home. There was comfort in that, in knowing exactly what needed to be done each day. We didn't talk much about feelings. That wasn't how things were done. We talked about bills, about neighbors, about what needed fixing. When our first child was born, I remember holding him and thinking how small he was. Not fragile exactly, but unfinished. I thought I would remember everything about those early days. The way his hands moved, the sound he made when he slept. But memory doesn't keep what you expect it to. It keeps strange things instead. The color of the blanket. the way the window wouldn't close properly, the sound of a dog barking 2 houses away. We had 3 children in total, 2 boys and a girl. The house was never quiet then. There were always shoes by the door, voices in the hallway, something needing attention. I moved from one task to another without thinking about it. I believed that was what being a good mother meant, keeping everything running, making sure nothing fell apart. I told myself there would be time later, time to sit with them properly, to listen without thinking about what needed to be done next. Later always felt close, like something just around the corner. I don't remember deciding to start eating the same foods every day. It happened slowly. At first, it was just convenience. A boiled egg was easy. Toast was quick. Yogurt didn't need much thought. Rice and lentils were simple, filling, familiar. With children and a husband and a house to manage, simplicity felt like a small kindness I could give myself. I didn't think of it as a habit, just something that worked. Days turned into years, and the meals stayed the same. The children grew. That part happens quietly too. One day they need you for everything, and the next they are standing at the door, already halfway somewhere else. I remember my daughter asking me to sit with her one evening. She had something she wanted to tell me. I was in the kitchen, stirring lentils. "Just a minute," I said. I don't remember what I needed that minute for. I do remember that she didn't ask again. There are many moments like that, small ones, easy to overlook at the time. They don't feel like decisions, they feel like delays. But delays have a way of becoming endings. My husband grew quieter as the years went on, or maybe I just stopped noticing the things he said. He would sit at the table while I cleared the dishes. Sometimes he would start a sentence and not finish it. I didn't ask him to. I thought there would be time. There is a particular evening I return to more than others, not because anything dramatic happened, because nothing did. We were sitting across from each other. The children had all moved out by then. He looked at me for a long moment, like he was trying to decide whether to say something. I remember thinking I should ask him what it was. I didn't. He nodded to himself, almost, and stood up. That was the end of it. I have wondered many times what he was going to say. That question doesn't go away. It just settles somewhere inside you. He died a few years after that. It wasn't sudden, but it also wasn't long enough to prepare for. I sat beside him in the hospital room, machines making quiet sounds that didn't mean anything to me. He opened his eyes once, looked at me, and then closed them again. We had been married for decades, and in that moment there was nothing I knew how to say, nothing that felt right. After he was gone, the house became too large. I kept cooking the same meals, at first out of habit, then because changing them felt like admitting something had ended. The children visited less often, not out of cruelty, They had their own lives, their own homes, their own routines. I told them not to worry about me. I meant it at the time, but meaning something doesn't stop it from leaving a space behind. I moved to a smaller place. It made sense. Less to clean, less to manage. The days became quieter. I began to notice things I hadn't before. The way the light moved across the floor, the sound of my own footsteps, and the silence. Silence is different when it's not temporary. The doctors started taking more interest in me when I passed 90. Then again at 100, they ask about my diet, about my routine. They expect a secret. There isn't one. I eat the same 4 foods because I never saw a reason to change them. And then it became too late to see a reason at all. It isn't discipline. It isn't a plan. It's just what remained. People like to think that long life comes from doing something right. I'm not sure that's true. I think sometimes it comes from doing the same thing over and over without interruption, and not realizing what you are giving up in the process. I don't feel particularly strong. My body is slow. My hands shake when I hold a cup. But I am still here. That is what puzzles them. What they don't see is what is no longer here with me. My husband's unfinished sentence, my daughter's question I didn't answer, the sound of my sons running through the house. These things don't show up in test results. They don't measure absence. If you are listening to me now, I won't tell you what to do. I spent most of my life doing what I thought was right, what was expected, what kept things in order. There is a kind of safety in that, but safety can be quiet and it can be long, long enough that you don't notice what is slipping past you. I thought there would always be another evening, another conversation, another chance to sit down and listen properly. I was wrong about that. Not in a dramatic way, not all at once, just little by little. You think you are postponing something, but sometimes you are closing it and you don't hear the door. I still eat my egg in the morning. I still cut the apple at night. The routine is steady. It asks nothing from me. There is comfort in that, I suppose. But comfort is not the same as fullness. I don't feel unhappy in the way people expect. It's not sharp. It's not loud. It's more like a thinning, as if something has been slowly taken out of the room, piece by piece, until you are left with what you need to survive and not much else. I sit by the window and watch the street. Sometimes I imagine my younger self walking past, busy, focused, certain there will be time later. I don't try to stop her. I don't think she would listen. At 103, you don't expect many more years, or even many more days. That doesn't frighten me. What stays with me are the ordinary moments I didn't enter fully when they were still in front of me. Not because I chose against them, because I believed they would wait. They don't. Nothing does. Tonight I will eat my rice and lentils. I will wash the bowl. I will sit for a while and then go to bed. It will be like yesterday. It will be like tomorrow, if there is one. I don't need it to be different anymore. But I see now that I could have lived differently while it still mattered. That is all.